This is Fantasy Football Today from CBSSports.com.
We've got a lot of banged-up starting running backs. Reggie Bush, C.J. Spiller, Fred Jackson. So, time to go to the... I know, it's so sad.
Sad. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. You look sad.
Time to go to the waiver wire.
I'm just annoyed. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Can't these guys not get hurt?
Well, let's talk about who to pick up.
Did you mention Willis McGahee?
I didn't.
Did you mention Beanie Wells?
I didn't.
Did you mention everybody else?
No, I didn't. You can mention everybody
I think
else.
Chris Johnson's hurt too.
He better be hurt the way he's playing. Let's look at the most viewed running backs here and tell you who to add to Shard Choice, Daniel Thomas, also Lamar Miller there. Nathan, I'll throw it to you first. What stands out to you on this list?
Well, certainly Tashard Choice has the opportunity to be the best this week if Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller are both out. Choice 99 total yards in his limited action against the Cleveland Browns there. Other than that, you're looking at some speculative plays, and to me, the number one guy to add if you're thinking for the future, he's only on 8% of leagues, and that's Bilal Powell. He has been the better running back in New York, and I think it is only a matter of time if Sean Green continues to struggle that he overtakes him as the primary back for Tony Sparano. Why is that important? Tony Sparano will give the ball to his running backs over 20 times every single game, and if Powell can come in and be that starter, all of a sudden you could have a 20-carry game back on your hands in a run-oriented offense.
Right. This is the guy I'm looking at trying to pick up in all of my leagues, too, and he's available in 92% of leagues, so you know he's out there. He's finally starting to average a good number with the football. 88 yards, 22 carries, 40 yards on 3 catches. Both of those numbers kill what Sean Green has delivered to the Jets so far this season.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I think it's just I don't know if the problem is that Sean Green will completely disappear, because he's still going to, I think, get first and second down work for most of the game. Even if Powell starts to play better than him, I think it'll be more of the LaDainian Tomlinson role that we saw from Tomlinson when he was sharing carries with Green, because for whatever reason, Rex Ryan still loves Sean Green. It's not like he's taking Sean Green off the field, even when he struggled in the past.
Now, you got the Miami situation and the Buffalo situation.
Yeah, you guys should debate this. We had an interesting little conversation between the two of you, between Lamar Miller and Daniel Thomas, before we went on the air.
We did.
Lamar Miller, to me, all right, remember when I made my initial C.J. Spiller, Fred Jackson prediction back in August or whatever?
Yeah.
I just thought C.J. Spiller a better talent than Fred Jackson.
Right. Sure.
At the time, I seriously undervalued Fred Jackson, though. But I don't think I'm undervaluing Daniel Thomas when I say that Lamar Miller is a better talent and a better player than Daniel Thomas. His yards per carry have been so much better than Thomas. Thomas has lost 2 fumbles already this year.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
And he missed a game.
Yeah.
And he missed the game. So I'm not sure that if Reggie Bush is out, I think Lamar Miller could end up having a better game.
I think they could end up splitting, and then they'll play the hot hand in the second half. We've seen a lot of coaches do that when they have 2 running backs that they're not even sure of themselves. I liked what I saw from Daniel Thomas against the Jets. I thought he was okay. You're right, Lamar Miller is putting up a nice average. A lot of that came in garbage time against Oakland this season. And listen, I'm a big Lamar Miller fan too. I think he's more versatile than Daniel Thomas, but Thomas was a guy that I know you loved a year ago and thought that he could break out and have this big season. He just got hampered with injuries. When he's been given an opportunity to play, he has not totally disappointed. The fumbles are definitely an issue.
But I would put in a claim for both of them. I would put Thomas first, but I'd be happy to get Miller. I'd be fine either way.
And obviously, you're both assuming that Reggie Bush is out.
You're right. Reggie Bush is out. Right. Now, let me ask you, Jamie, about the backup running backs on this list, like the Jackie Battles, Danny Woodhead, Joique Bell, Sean Jerome. Who stands out in that group?
Well, I think you got to look at Jackie Battle if, in fact, the Chargers are going to stick to what they're somewhat alluding to, that maybe somebody else is going to work at the goal line here. Ronnie Brown is done. Curtis Brinkley, more of a third down back. Jackie Battle had a great run in that game against the Falcons last week, and obviously scored the 2 touchdowns the week before when Matthews was out. Now, I don't think that Matthews should come off the field. I think that'd be a mistake by the Chargers' part. But if you're the guy in your league or out there that hates Ryan Matthews, because we get a lot of Ryan Matthews hate for whatever reason, this is the guy to handcuff to Ryan Matthews. And if Matthews suffers another injury, we saw now Jackie Battle for a good part of last year, and then the one game this season in week 2 when he stepped in for Matthews did a good job. But I'd also keep an eye on Sean Drone, because the Chiefs want to use 2 guys. You know, as great as Jamal Charles was last week, Peyton Hill is now dealing with an ankle injury, and he's struggled so far. And Sean Drone has come in now almost every game in garbage time opportunities and look like he has some potential there. So if something happens to Charles and Peyton Hillis continues to struggle, then maybe Sean Drone in some of these deeper leagues can help you out.
All right, just real quick around the table, a one-word answer just to clarify here. If you're picking up one running back, your first waiver claim for a running back this week is?
Choice if I need a running back in week 3.
Choice, regardless.
Nathan?
Choice if I need to start somebody this week, Powell if not.
Right.
And Nathan, let's talk about guys to drop. Who are some running backs you might drop? Think about maybe the Steelers' backfield. We got a question I know about Mark Ingram. People want to know about if they should drop him. What do you think?
Chris Johnson.
I would definitely drop Dwyer. I would drop Redmond. I'll hold on to Chris Johnson, or at least I'll pick him up after Jamie drops him for now. I think you can drop Kevin Smith. I think when everybody was kind of reading into the Lions bringing in a bunch of running backs to work out as maybe LaShore's not ready, this, that, I think they just aren't into Kevin Smith. I think that they doubt his ability to be an effective part of that team. 0 carries would certainly indicate that to me, so I think that he is somebody who could be dropped as well.
What about Sean Green as a guy that can be dropped? When he's played, he hasn't been, he was productive in the 1 week when he had 1 million carries against Buffalo, but since then, not a whole lot. It's a guy you're never going to start him. There's just nothing very exciting about Sean Green.
I'd say this about Sean Green. In the one game that they won and he had a good matchup, he played well. Granted, high volume of carries, didn't have a great yards per carry average. But week 2 they played Miami, who we all would agree now is one of the better run defenses in the NFL. Then he played Pittsburgh, and now he's going to play San Francisco this week. So Sean Green kind of had a murderer's row for running backs right out of the gate there. I wouldn't cut him just yet just because it's such a run-oriented offense and Bilal Powell's not proven. But I think right now, if you're reading like a trend chart, the momentum is definitely on the side of Bilal.
And we will bring up the most viewed wide receivers now and get some thoughts from Dave, from Jamie, and from Nathan. Jamie, what stands out to you here? Andrew Hawkins, pick this guy up.
I don't understand what people are waiting for. I mean, yes, I understand week 1 you thought, okay, maybe a fluke. Week 2 he comes back, he scores a touchdown. Week 3 he comes back, he scores another touchdown. If he's not above 80% ownership at this point, I don't know what people are doing in their fantasy leagues, and I like to play in those leagues because the way this guy is being used, look, you can think what you want about Andy Dalton, you can think what you want about the Bengals. They're making plays, and they're looking good doing so, and Andy Dalton is involving Andrew Hawkins. The targets are not where you'd like to see from a guy that you want to start in your fantasy leagues, but the production is. And it doesn't necessarily – look, he's not going to be Jordy Nelson or Victor Cruz, but it didn't take Jordy Nelson a lot of targets to be very good last year, and Andrew Hawkins might be a very poor man's Jordy Nelson, but he's producing at a high level right now. So pick this guy up, and please consider him a starter in 3 receiver leagues.
And other than Denarius Moore, is he your favorite on that list?
He has to be. I mean, again, you're looking at production, a matchup against Jacksonville this week where Dalton should have some success. Now, I hope they run the ball, and it was amazing that your favorite running back in the history of the NFL fumbled for the first time. 590 career touches, and Jarvis Green-Ellis finally loses a fumble. So he should have a great bounce-back game, but Andrew Hawkins should still be involved.
And Nathan, who do you want to spotlight on that list?
Really, for me, the only people that I'd want to add from this list, one would be Hawkins, the other, obviously, Denarius Moore. Now, if you needed somebody this week, Nate Burleson, I think, could be a big-time pick-up and play, especially if Matt Stafford's out. Sean Hill, back when he took over for Stafford in 2010, absolutely loved Nate Burleson. He averaged about 6 catches a game with Sean Hill under center, so he's somebody I'd look at there. And then another one, kind of a deeper sleeper, similar to Hawkins, not a lot of targets, but he is being very productive, is Jeremy Curley for the New York Jets. Hill is banged up. Holmes is playing pretty well. Dustin Keller is banged up as well. So Curley's kind of the intermediate guy for Mark Sanchez right now.
Dave, who should we be dropping this week? You know, there are obviously questions about Titus Young. I think Stephen Hill's pretty droppable.
Titus Young Sr. Hello?
Titus Young Sr.
Right. Sure.
Stephen Hill looks pretty droppable at this point. What about Kevin Ogletree? Give me your thoughts.
You know, obviously those guys should hit the bricks. I think anybody
Young?
from
Titus Young?
I don't know about Young because I still see some potential there for Hail Mary touchdowns. But other than that, yeah, it's struggling with him. Look, you want to pick up a wide receiver who's going to be productive, and you look at the Hawkins of the world that are out there, and they've been productive.
Sure.
And of course you're going to want to try and jump on that bandwagon. Here's the question. If I drop Titus Young in my league, are you in a hurry to go pick him up?
Yeah.
Are you in a hurry to go pick him up?
I mean, that's the one rule you've always preached, and I back you 100%. If somebody in your league is going to pick up the guy you drop, don't drop him.
That's why you can try and trade Titus Young. You're not going to get a whole lot for him, but that's a guy you can cut. Now, let's say, or not cut, I'd rather. Sidney Rice, I drop him. I'm not asking you because I know what your answer is going to be. Are you going to pick up Sidney Rice? Nathan, are you picking up Sidney Rice if I cut him in a league that we're in?
Probably not.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to.
Right, so pretty much any Seattle wide receiver.
The names I think a lot of people want to know about. Robert Meacham, do you get rid of him at this point? I think the answer is yes. Alshon Jeffrey, do you get rid of him at this point? The answer is yes. We mentioned Ogletree and Stephen Hill, people who ran to pick them up in week 1. You get rid of them. Kendall Wright, do you give up on him at this point? I think the answer is yes for some of these other guys, especially Hawkins and Denarius Moore. These are players that, maybe Donnie Avery too, especially with them on a bye week, had the good first couple of weeks.
Right.
And now T.Y. Hilton emerges a little bit, so maybe that takes away a little bit of what Avery does. So there are receivers that you can sort of say, okay, I've got nothing from them, and there are still these guys available to me. If I have to pick them up for 1 week and then drop them again, Kevin Ogletree will be there probably in 2 weeks. Stephen Hill will be there in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Stephen Hill will be there several weeks, unfortunately.
One guy who wasn't on that list that I think should be when we're talking about waiver wire additions at wide receiver is Jerome Simpson.
Yep.
We all like Ponder. We all like Rudolph. We all like Harvin. All of a sudden, you add a speedster on the outside in Jerome Simpson. It adds a whole new dimension to this offense. I think this is an offense that is certainly on the rise. And I think Jerome Simpson, if you're looking for a receiver to come in, give you some big plays, he's somebody that I consider adding. I think he has a chance to finish, because he's going to have some monster games, some inconsistent ones, but somebody who can finish in the top 36 at receiver if things all go right for Minnesota.
And his ownership is only 27%, so he should be available.
Oh, yeah, he's out there.
All right, when we come back, fantasy fill in the blank here on Fantasy Football Today.
Nice.